This crying soldier begged a person not to board the plane, but then this happened. On the bright morning of May 4th, 2018, the airport thrummed with activity. Travelers busily carted their luggage, exchanged farewells with loved ones, and navigated the maze of terminals. The typical sounds of airport life, rolling suitcases, indistinct chatter, and loudspeaker announcements created a chaotic symphony. In the middle of this ordinary yet bustling scene sat a soldier named Brooks Lindsay. He was nestled against a wall, his gaze glued to his phone. Despite his rugged and disciplined appearance, tears streamed down his face. Marion, one of the diligent airport staff members, noticed Brooks but initially paid him little mind. Something about his somber demeanor, however, pulled at her heartstrings. What could make a soldier, seemingly steely and fearless, so visibly emotional? The question gnawed at her, and she decided to investigate. Approaching cautiously, Marion exuded a quiet, empathetic presence. Brooks barely noticed her until she gently rested a hand on his arm. "Excuse me, sir, are you all right?" she asked, her voice filled with heartfelt concern. Brooks looked up, his tears continuing their steady flow, and managed to speak through a mix of joy and frustration. "My wife, she's in labor right now, and I'm stuck here. I need to board my flight," he explained, his voice catching. Marion's heart sank at his words. Her sense of professional duty took a back seat to her desire to help. Glancing at the boarding pass clutched tightly in Brooks's hand, she made a swift decision. "Hold on just a moment," she said, a determined glint in her eye as she dashed away. Meanwhile, the cluster of people around Brooks began to notice his emotional state. They gathered, piecing together the snippets of his conversation. The shared understanding of his plight drew them in, and they offered their silent, sympathetic support. "The delayed flight is nearly ready to board," a voice announced over the loudspeaker, heightening the tension. Brooks was caught between two worlds, witnessing the miracle of his child's birth and boarding a delayed flight. "You're doing amazing, sweetheart. Almost there. I'll be home soon," he whispered to his phone. On the phone's small screen, the scene in a hospital room unfolded. Haley, Brooks' wife, was amidst labor, her pain visible. Brooks held the phone up, his focus unyielding as he offered her comforting words. The crowd around him, now emotionally invested, drew closer. As the boarding announcement echoed for a second time, passengers began to trickle towards their gate. Brooks, however, remained grounded, his heart and mind riveted to the video call. Suddenly, the doctor's voice boomed through the phone. "Don't let him board the flight. She's here. She's here." Brooks's thoughts drifted back to when he first met Haley in 2015. Their love story unfolded quickly. Their bond deepened with each passing day. With Haley's encouragement, Brooks enlisted in the Army. Following a year in service, Brooks proposed, and Haley accepted with a joyful heart. They married soon after, but the bliss was short-lived. Brooks had to leave for training just 3 months later. Shortly after, Haley discovered she was pregnant. The news of the baby brought immeasurable joy, but it also introduced a new set of challenges. Brooks was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas, with looming plans for deployment to Kuwait. Although apart, Haley's letters, imbued with her fragrance, tethered Brooks to home and kept his spirits high. They meticulously planned for their baby girl, whom they decided to name Millie. As Haley's due date neared, complications emerged. A troubling diagnosis of preeclampsia meant an induced labor was necessary. Seizing this window, Brooks applied for Red Cross leave, which was mercifully granted. His journey home began, filled with hope and urgency. But fate played a cruel hand. Delays plagued his flights, and upon landing in Dallas, Brooks was overcome with fear that he wouldn't make it to the berth. Desperately, he called Haley from the airport, his heart breaking upon learning she was already in labor. Haley, surrounded by her stepmother and Brooks's mother, Teresa, pushed through the contractions. Teresa, ever quick-witted and sympathetic, secretly initiated a FaceTime call. The hospital had strict rules against filming, yet Teresa covertly recorded the entire event, hiding the phone within her shirt. Brooks, with tears and unrestrained emotion, watched his wife struggle from the airport floor. The doctor's encouraging shouts filled the terminal. "Push, Haley! You're almost there!" Brooks, unaware he wasn't supposed to speak, murmured encouragements. Onlookers realized he was virtually present at the birth and leaned in, offering support by just being there. Marion returned amidst this heart-wrenching scene. "Sir, you still have a bit of time. The flight's been delayed again," she said warmly, her eyes filled with empathy. Brooks, now surrounded by a supportive crowd, focused on the miracle unfolding on his screen. Then the beautiful, unmistakable wail of a newborn resonated through the phone's speakers. The gathered crowd, fully invested in the emotional crescendo, erupted in applause. Brooks openly wept, overwhelmed with pride and love. For a moment, everyone in the terminal was united in shared joy. Eventually, Brooks boarded his flight, anticipation and relief radiating from him. Upon reaching the hospital, he was finally able to hold his daughter Millie for the very first time. Weighing 7 pounds 6 ounces and measuring 21 inches long, she was the picture of perfection. With Haley's health stabilized, Brooks soaked in every precious detail of the moment. Their touching stories spread like wildfire across social media, capturing hearts worldwide. A photograph of Brooks tearfully FaceTiming his wife from the airport floor went viral, symbolizing dedication and love. The Red Cross, moved by the story, extended Brooks's leave, allowing him more time with his family. As Brooks cradled Haley and Millie, he reflected on the arduous journey that led to this moment. Every challenge, each twist of fate had converged to bring him here. He was a soldier, a husband, and a father, bound by love and the extraordinary events that had united them, proving that sometimes even the toughest obstacles can lead to the most beautiful destinations.